You wake up before the sun does, because the sun has the luxury of rising slowly. You don't. The mat beneath you is thin as an excuse, and the cold doesn't knock, it just walks in, finds a seat, and stays. Your fingers are already cracked at the knuckles. 17 years old, and your hands look like your grandfather's if your grandfather had lived long enough to have hands worth looking at. He didn't. Rice paddies have a way of collecting people. This is Setsu Province, 1743. And nobody gives a damn about you. That's not self-pity, that's agriculture. Your father owes rice to Lord Matsudaira's steward, has owed it for 2 seasons. The math on this is simple and brutal. Debt compounds, harvests don't. Your mother patches the same robe for the 5th time. Your younger sister stopped asking when the next meal was coming, because the silence hurt less than the answer. The village has a name, but names are for places that matter. Yours is a smear of mud huts between 2 hills that drain into a river that floods every 3rd year with a precision that feels personal. The Buddhist priest says it's karma, the priest eats twice a day. You spend your mornings knee-deep in water, and your evenings too tired to feel anything as extravagant as hope. You are 17, strong-backed, and completely invisible to every power structure above you. You are a unit of labor, a tax bracket that walks. Then one morning, Kenji-san comes back from Osaka. Kenji is 23, which means he's ancient by village math and he walks different now. Holds himself different. He spent 4 years in the city running messages for a Hatamoto household, a bannerman's family, technically samurai adjacent. The kind of people who use your kind of people to move things from one place to another, and call it an honor. He tells you the household is looking for a servant boy, someone to carry, clean, fetch, and absorb whatever abuse is currently surplus. The pay is almost nothing. The work is constant. The position is basically indentured servitude with nicer floors. You say yes. Before he finishes the sentence, Osaka hits you like a wall. Not a poetic wall. An actual wall of sound and smell, fish oil, night soil, cedar, and the particular funk of 10,000 people living within shouting distance of each other. You've never seen a city before. You've also never felt so acutely like a piece of straw that drifted in from the countryside, which is exactly what you are. The Ikeda household is a Hatamoto estate, modest by samurai standards, which means it is palatial by yours. 3 buildings, a small garden. Actual shoji screens instead of just openings in the wall. You will sleep in the servants' quarters near the kitchen, which smells permanently of smoke, and the ambitions of people who've given up on ambitions. Your first week is a masterclass in humiliation. You address a senior retainer incorrectly. You bow at the wrong angle twice. You bring tea at the exact wrong temperature, not cold enough to be noticed as cold. Just wrong enough to draw a look that strips a layer off your dignity. The head servant, a lean man named Goro, with the warmth of a river stone, corrects you with a bamboo switch across the back of your calves. Not hard enough to scar, just hard enough to remember. This is the vibe. For 6 months, you carry things, you clean things, you learn the rhythmic misery of invisible labor, the kind where, when you do it perfectly, no one notices you exist. And when you do it imperfectly, the world briefly and painfully centers on your failure. There is no in-between. There is no good job. There's just the absence of the switch. But here's what Goro doesn't know, can't know, would never care to know. You're watching everything, not scheming. You don't have the energy for scheming. You're watching because that's all you have left. You watch how the samurai walk, how they hold their shoulders, how they talk to merchants versus how they talk to other samurai. The Bushido code, loyalty, honor, righteousness, this whole package deal isn't some beautiful philosophy from where you're standing. It's a behavioral system. It's a language. And if you can learn the language, you can at least stop being furniture. You also watch young Lord Ikeda's sword instructor Tanaka-sensei, old man, iron spine, watches everything with the same neutral expression, whether he's looking at a sparring partner or a bowl of soup. You watch him for months. He never acknowledges you. Then one evening, you're cleaning the dojo. And he says, without looking up from his tea, "Your footwork is wrong." You freeze. You weren't doing footwork, you were sweeping. The way you walk, he clarifies. Heels first, like a farmer. You want to say, "Because I am one." Instead you say, "Yes, sensei, how should I walk?" That question, asked in exactly the right register of genuine rather than sarcastic, is the crack in the wall that changes your entire life. Tanaka doesn't take you on as a student. Let's be clear. You are not in a story where the old master sees your hidden potential and trains you in the moonlight. This is not that. What happens is smaller and harder. He occasionally, when the mood takes him, tells you what you're doing wrong. You take those crumbs and eat them like they're feasts. You practice in the dark, literally, after everyone sleeps. In the corner of the servants' courtyard, with a stick that isn't a sword, running through the postures you've watched through the dojo door. Your legs burn. You fall asleep in positions that give you cramps you don't have time to fully feel before the day starts again. Year 2. You're still a servant, but something shifts in how you carry yourself, and that shift attracts attention. Not good attention, not yet. The other servants notice you're different, and that makes you a target for a specific kind of workplace cruelty that working-class people reserve for each other. The kind that says, "Who do you think you are?" The kind that says, "Get back down here where you belong." Ryota, the senior stable hand, trips you in front of the steward's guests. You go down hard on the stone path, lacquer tray and all. The guests don't react. You don't cry. Goro hits your calves twice and tells you to clean it up. You clean it up. That night, you don't practice footwork. You just sit in the dark for a while. This is the first time you almost quit. Year 3 brings a merchant dispute that gets physical, which is above your pay grade, but right in front of your face. 2 men from a rival trading house try to rough up Lord Ikeda's steward in the street. And for reasons you cannot fully explain even afterwards, you step in. Not heroically. Not with any technique, just with the blunt physics of someone who grew up throwing sacks of rice and doesn't know how to be afraid of 2 guys in good coats. You put the first one down hard, the second one runs. The steward doesn't thank you, but he sees you. And in this system, being seen is currency. Lord Ikeda's younger brother Hiroshi, a soft 20-year-old with a drinking problem and a paranoia about assassins, requests you as a personal attendant. The pay is marginally better. The job is babysitting a rich man-child who drinks too much sake and sees shadows everywhere. Year 4. A shadow turns out to be real. An actual hired blade from an actual political enemy in the actual hallway at 2 in the actual morning. You wake up because you always wake up. You have never slept deeply. The rice paddies trained that out of you. What follows is ugly and short and nothing like the dojo. But Hiroshi lives, and the blade does not. Now you are seen differently. By 24, you hold the title of Ash-I-Garu Foot Soldier officially in Lord Ikeda's service. You have armor that fits you. You have a real sword assigned rather than gifted but real. You eat twice a day guaranteed. Your family's debt to the Matsu Daira steward gets quietly cleared through a word from Lord Ikeda's house to the right person. You do not know this happened until your mother tells you in a letter written by the village priest that she no longer fears the autumn. You read that sentence 6 times. You rise through service, slowly, methodically, the way you learn to do everything through watching, and then doing, and then getting hit, and then doing again. The Bushido isn't abstract to you. It never was. Loyalty isn't a virtue, it's a strategy. You tie yourself to people worth tying yourself to, and you deliver on every single thing you promise, and that makes you worth keeping. Honor isn't a feeling, it's a reputation. And reputation in this world is the only thing that travels faster than you can walk. By 29, you are a Dushin, a minor constabulary officer, technically low samurai class. Through formal recognition, the paperwork is real, the seal is real. Your name for the first time in your life belongs to something official. Your mother, when you visit the village, touches your armor like she is touching the face of someone she thought had drowned. The other farmers look at you the way you used to look at Kenji. It feels good. For a while, it feels genuinely, completely good. You're 31 when you lose it. Not through politics, not through betrayal, not through any of the dramatic mechanisms you half expected and secretly prepared for. You lose it in a rice paddy. Not literally, stay with me. You are escorting a tax collection through the Southern District's official duty, clean paperwork, everything by the code you have devoted a decade and a half to mastering. The village you pass through is yours, or it was yours. Same mud, same hills, draining into the same vindictive river. And the people working the paddies are the same shape of people you grew up among, bent, cracked-handed, invisible. One of them straightens up to watch the procession pass. Old woman. Probably not as old as she looks. You know that math too. Her eyes go to your armor and stay there, not with awe, not with anger, just with a flat, enormous assessment, like she is calculating something. And then she goes back to work. She goes back to work. And something in your chest does a thing it hasn't done in years. It hurts. Not from a blade, not from training. Just hurts the way a bone hurts when it's been broken and healed wrong, and you only notice it in the cold. You realize moving forward, sitting straight, every inch, the minor functionary of a system you clawed your way into, that you are now on the other side of that rice paddy, that you are the procession those people pause to watch and then ignore. Because acknowledging the procession fully is a kind of pain they can't afford before dinner. That the debt you cleared your family's 2 seasons of rice tax anguish was cleared not because the system corrected itself, but because a lord with the power to excuse it chose to spend that favor on you, which means every family without a son in armor is still in that math, which means you escaped. Not the situation, just you. The Bushido talks about loyalty and honor and righteousness. It says nothing about the woman in the paddy who is you, 15 years ago, who will never hold a sword, who will never be seen, because she has no midnight hallway to stand in at the right moment. The code is a ladder, and ladders, by definition, leave the ground behind. You don't weep. You're not a man who weeps while on duty. You're too disciplined for that now, and the discipline is real, and that is also part of the problem. But for the rest of that escort, you keep your eyes forward because you cannot look at the paddies again. Your hands stay still on your reins, steady, controlled, everything Tanaka taught you. They are cracked at the knuckles. After all this time, after all of it, still cracked at the knuckles. You are what you built, and what you built is real, and it cost something, and what it cost was the part of you that might have known what to do about that woman in the paddy. The part that was her? The rice doesn't care who plants it. It just grows, gets harvested, gets taxed, and starts over. Season after season, debt after debt, back after bent back, all the way down. You know this. You've always known this. You just learned to hold the sword instead of the stalk, and you told yourself that was different. Most days, you still do.